everybody. Welcome back to the J Lounge. Of course, you guys know I am your hostess with the mostest, Miss J, aka Miss Simone Jackson, here to bring you guys another great episode of the J Lounge. Of course, everyone knows out there, we are a celebrity-based podcast show where we talk with entertainers, writers, directors, actors, all of them, you name it, they all end up here and they all end up having a really great time. Of course, you guys know I am always excited to be introducing you guys to my next guest. She is a Los Angeles-based public speaker and a spoken word poet. She's also the writer and director of her new film, Daylights. And I cannot wait to be able to speak with her and you guys get to know more about her and her work. Everyone, please give a super, super warm welcome to the amazing Yaa Asantewaa Faraji. Hello.
Hello, how are you? Thank you so much for having me.
Oh my goodness, it is an honor. Thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate you giving us your time today.
Oh, no problem at all. I'm honestly so excited. When you hit me up asking me to be a part of the podcast, I was like, oh my goodness, what an honor, to have him to speak to like-minded individuals who really kind of understand, this side of the industry. It really, I really appreciate you reaching out.
Oh, it is. Oh, trust me, the honor and pleasure was all mine. It really was. I'm excited for my audience to get to know more about you. And I'm just going to go ahead and fire off that first question at you. Y'all, I just want to know, what began your passion for poems and screenwriting?
Oh my goodness. I've thought about this a lot recently, having, recently wrapped with Daylight. And I really have to accredit it to my parents. My mother was a high school and middle school English teacher, has her, graduate degree in higher education with an emphasis in English. And she had a library in her house growing up that she would kind of let us read from. And, since she was a middle school and high school educator, a lot of the literature that she had was a bit advanced for an elementary school student. But she believed in me and she believed in, my ability to really kind of tackle those stories. I was reading Lois Lowry and Richard Wright's Black Boy by the time I was in, the 5th grade. And then I think a lot about my father. We had one of our strongest connections was actually through film. A lot of the bonding that we did as a child really happened in the movie theater. We would see, 2 and 3 movies a day, and we'd have a really great time just kind of deconstructing those stories and applying them to our own lives. And so, now that I'm thinking back on it, I can't really take too much credit for my love for poetry, and my love for film, because, that's what my parents introduced me to. So I definitely think that it definitely started with the tree. I'm just the apple that fell.
I love it. I love it. And the fact that your mom had a library, I mean, I am very jealous. That is the ultimate goal for me, is to have a library, a nice roaring fire, and those plush seats. That's where you'll find me 99.9% of my day. I guarantee it.
I feel you. We had a papusan couch, and I tell you the amount of days as a child that I spent just sleeping overnight on that couch.
Yeah. It would be ridiculous. I would be ridiculous if I had a library that was extravagant and inside my own. Oh my goodness. But I would fill it with every single book, poem imaginable.
Yeah. I'm at my mom's level now,
Exactly. All right, y'all. Going on to the next question. You wrote a book that landed on Amazon's bestseller. Can you tell the J Lunch audience not only a little bit about the book, but what made you write it?
Oh my goodness. Yeah, so the book is entitled Calabama, published through World Stage Press. It's a local press out in Los Angeles. We hit the Amazon bestsellers list in 2021 about 6 times. I'm really very fortunate. I'm very fortunate for that. I didn't know that I had a community around me that was interested and invested and supportive of, my work and my writings as much as that. That was really kind of overwhelming. When it comes to just kind of a bit about the book and kind of the process and why, having done so, My goodness, it was kind of always meant to be. I've been a professional public speaker for about 8 years now, and a spoken word poet for about 10 years or so now. I've been frequenting, various poetry lounges, the famed De Poetry Lounge
Yes.
in Los Angeles, since I was 16. I'm now 27. And so I think it kind of always was going to be something that I was going to do. I have a document on my computer that has about 400 pages of just what I consider to be open letters. And it's interesting, a lot of what I was able to pull from Calabama had already, I would say maybe about 50% of Calabama was already written in this document. It was just a matter of me kind of plucking these narratives out and really kind of constructing a cohesive, body of work with that. And so when we talk about Calabama, it's an anthology of short stories and poems that really detail the American experience, and then also, furthermore, the Black American experience. Calabama obviously is a portmanteau between California and Alabama. A lot of the times when folks think of California, they think Hollywood, they think flashing lights, they think celebrities, litter the streets everywhere, and we're all best friends with Beyonce, right? But true California natives, we know that is not necessarily the case. There are people here, majority people here, who are working hard to make ends meet, and their stories often go unnoticed. And so Calabama really is just kind of an homage to the folks who really go unseen, really in any society, and kind of, an opportunity to uplift those communities that often, get overlooked.
And I have to agree with that. When you do think of LA, you do think the glitz, the glamour, celebrities, Rodeo Drive, and all that kind of stuff. So I appreciate you writing Calabama and getting the true Californian side of the story. And like you just said, there are who are working hard, who is trying to make ends meet, who are struggling because LA is one of the most expensive places to live. So
oh my goodness, gas is $6.79.
oh girl, that's my heart.
Bless my heart. Are you out in California?
No, I'm in Washington. It is just as expensive. Our gas is about $5 to $6. So it's the struggle is real, people, if you don't realize the struggle.
I'm not friends with Beyonce. I have 9 to 5 money, okay? I am not
9 to 5 money. I'm stealing that. That's a good one. 9 to 5 money. I get it. And for those who don't, then that means you don't have a 9 to 5 money job.
You know.
Oh, I get you. I feel you so hard on that. I really do. Oh, goodness. Yeah, we're not out here, partying with Beyonce every day. We are grinding. We are working. We are, it is, struggle is real, people. The struggle is real. Going on to the number 3 question. I mentioned earlier during this introduction, you have a project called Daylight out. What's the inspiration behind that film, and can you tell a little bit about the film?
Yeah, and it's Daylight is a very interesting project, and for so many different reasons. We all went through the pandemic, and we all kind of had to pull the light outside of ourselves. And Daylight really is a reinterpretation of kind of the internal struggles, the internal monologue that we all kind of had to face, during the pandemic, during these moments of isolation. I was a solo isolator during the pandemic. And so, you can imagine how adventurous diving into the depths of your own trauma can be when there's nothing else to do, right?
Oh, yes.
To be honest, I really just happened to have been in a dark place during, I guess that bulk moment of the pandemic. And I heard, this is going to sound so weird, but I heard something whisper in my head, Daylight. And I had been working on a project at the time, and it was probably just storyboarded at the time. Maybe like a very rough draft. and I had called that project Daylight. And so when I heard the whisper in my head, I said, oh, okay, this is what I should be leaning into, this trauma that I'm feeling. And I'll preface by saying Daylight is based on a true story, a true sexual assault story, incident that happened to me when I was 19. It is for every other person, every other woman who is also 1 in 5. And so I thought that this was what I was supposed to lean into. If I wanted to release this trauma, then I could do so, you know, in the form of art, in the form of creative, in the form of a film that maybe other folks could identify with as well. It ended up becoming a whirlwind. It ended up costing so much more than I thought it was going to cost. The days started stretching. It was no longer 8-hour days, it was 16-hour days. And, you know, now that we're in post-production, it's kind of still the same thing. And what's exceptionally ironic, which I think is the biggest lesson that I have learned with this project, you know, I'm the writer, director, producer of this project. And all of that is so wonderful and great. People keep asking me, you know, how do you feel? How do you feel? What's so ironic about trauma is that it won't get put to bed unless you really deal with it. Yep. And it's interesting being on, you know, the tail end of things with this project, you know, post-production and film festivals and things of that nature. The amount of trauma that I try to put a Band-Aid on in the form of this project that I now have to revisit and truly heal from. And so it's kind of interesting kind of being in that same place of friction, that same kind of dark place. And I'm actually, as of right now, I'm unpacking that. And it's interesting, some of the similarities between the way that I am unpacking it and the way that Amber, our protagonist, unpacked it in the story, and then kind of some of the differences kind of with that as well. But the biggest lesson, if there was anything, any advice that I could give to folks, you have to go through the storm. There is no escaping it. And that's okay. It's okay to feel sad. It's okay to not feel your best. These sentiments, these moments, these feelings are also temporary. And if you can believe in yourself enough and love yourself enough to push through it, there really is light at the end of the tunnel. There really is.
And I get an amen.
Amen. Amen.
Amen. I so agree. And I know exactly what you're feeling and what you're talking about. During the pandemic, I also went through a very dark time of myself. You know, I was at one time working in retail during the pandemic. I don't know if everyone said this, but it is hell. It's absolute hell. And so I just remember just feeling so miserable and just sad. And it just, I get it. And I let myself feel all that feelings. And then I came out through the other end stronger and better than I was before. So I definitely agree with you there. You gotta let yourself feel those emotions, and you gotta let yourself go through it and all of that stuff, because it's important.
It's inevitable.
It's inevitable. Exactly.
So you might as well deal with it.
Might as well. Oh my goodness. I'm right there with you. I am right there with you. All right. Going on to the number 4 question, y'all. I want to know, name 3 people who influenced your career.
Oh my, just 3? Oh my God.
I know. I torture all my guests with 3, and I just like to see what they come up with. It's a very tortured question.
Oh my goodness, there's so many people that I really have to attribute. Oh my goodness, just 3. I would definitely have to say Shihan Van Cleef. He is one of 4 founders of the Poetry Lounge. I truly, honestly don't know who I would be and how saved I would be had it not been for, you know, the Poetry Lounge really saving me. You know, it's been, you know, over a decade, and I have just so much grace and understanding and knowledge and know-how and skill to really just, you know, attribute to the Poetry Lounge, the legacy of the Poetry Lounge. And so I would be remiss if I didn't say Shihan Van Cleef. Let's see, this is so difficult. Don't even put me on the spot.
I told you this is a very tortured question. It's a very tortured question. I know.
Let's see. And then I would like to also say my grandfather. My grandfather passed in 2018. James Carter, Jimmy is what they called him. I have to thank him for my career because I know that he has been here with me through and through. Anytime that I call to him, and I know that sounds a little woo-woo, but anytime I call to my grandfather and he's passed on, he's in a different form now, but I can always feel his energy. I can always feel him uplifting me. And so I definitely have to attribute a lot of my success in my career and my sanity to my grandfather and his energy, and him just really supporting me. And then third person for my career. Ooh. I can't really single out. I can't really do that. There literally are so many people. And so I'm just gonna say the collected community of individuals who have really helped me and taught me so many different lessons, both in my corporate environment. There are supervisors that, Michelle Tubb, that I really would love to appreciate. And then there are poets that I really admire, Alicia Wise, Matthew Cuban, King, Saint. There's just so many. Oh my God, Fisaha Mogs, Katrina Kirkpatrick. Like there's so many. I'm trying to get.
He's like, am I missing anybody? I'm trying. That does sound like an amazing group of people that have influenced your career, and I think that is amazing. I really do. I definitely understand the question. I wouldn't be able to name 3 people either. So
that's so hard. It
is hard.
That's like the tip of the iceberg. I didn't even get into my mentors.
Yes, but the mentors, we will include the mentors. We will include the mentors. But yeah, I love that. But going on to number 5 question, y'all, I want to make sure my audience keeps up with you, your work, your poems, anything that you do. Where are you on social media?
Sure. You can find me across all social platforms. So Facebook, Instagram, TikTok at Faraji Writes. That's Faraji Writes. And if you'd like to know more than that, you can go to farajithewriter.com. I don't know. Hit me up on BLK. I'm on Bumble. I don't know.
She even bust out Bumble, y'all. Okay, just to know how serious she is, she bust out Bumble. Now you know they're serious when we talk about Bumble. So I love that
conversation.
Exactly. Going on to the number 6 question, y'all. What future projects are you involved with that you can dish about to the J Lounge audience?
Ooh, there are a couple of projects that I can't necessarily dish out about, but I can definitely say there is another short film that I'll be working on in the latter future. I definitely, for the next, I would say year or so, is really more focused with Daylight, but there is another project that I do have in mind. There's also a documentary that I have in mind. And then it's kind of like a corporate, something that I'm doing with like a governmental agency that I can't really speak to, that I'll be writing, directing, and performing. There are a couple things, but I can't really speak too much right now.
Very understandable.
And then, catch me at DPL. I'm always at the Poetry Lounge, spitting some fire poetry.
Oh gosh, I wish they would do that more here where I'm at in Washington, because I love listening to different poetries and all that kind of stuff. I would probably be there for days. Y'all wouldn't get rid of me. Like, oh, there's Simone again, sitting up front seat. Yep, I'm here.
It's really a sanctuary. And, I'm really happy at the very least that poetry is becoming more mainstream than it used to be. And I'm pretty sure that there has to be something in Washington, maybe like the Seattle proper area. I'm not sure.
I feel like that too. I feel like I really probably need to do my research and find some poetry lounge here. I've just been here in Washington like my whole life, and I've never heard of any poetry lounge. But I am an hour away from Seattle, so maybe I should do my research, and because I would love to hear some poems. And maybe one day, speak into existence, y'all, you can do some poetry reading over here in Seattle. We like
Well, all
poems.
right then. Well,
She's a little all right then. All right. Going on to the next question. What goals do you hope to accomplish in your career?
There's so many. Oh my goodness, there's so many. I definitely am looking to become a staff writer in a writer's room for a show with values that I really appreciate and admire. That's definitely high on my list of goals. And then immediately, I think I would love to. It's so interesting how life is. I definitely would love to kind of go back to corporate America, to be honest, and really sharpen my skill set as a writer. I think a lot of the time we as creatives overlook some of those hard skill sets that you really can glean from a corporate environment. You know, I would love to go back as a copywriter and really get to focus on, you know, specific brands whose values and visions that I really, you know, truly align with, and really kind of help augment the visibility or whatever, you know, that KPI may be. That's getting a little technical, but I really kind of want to sharpen that skill set a bit, because that really has helped me immensely as a writer, as a poet, as a filmmaker, even just kind of applying some of the rules of thumb that are used in the advertising kind of marketing space to the creative space. But then I think ultimately, if I were talking about like a long-term goal of mine, is definitely to own and operate my own production company that uplifts the stories of multicultures across the entire spectrum, not only just the African diaspora, but, you know, different ethnicities as well, whose stories will often, you know, get told, and specifically from a lens of joy. That's definitely a long goal.
Yes. Oh my goodness. I love all of that. And you know what? I think, you know, you speak into existence, I think you will accomplish every single goal that you have.
Well, thank you. God willing. God willing.
Yes, God willing. Yes, God willing. All right, y'all. We just got a few more questions for you going on to the next one. And I think you'll enjoy this question. What would you consider your favorite poem to be, and why?
My favorite poem to be. Ooh, wow. You really just be with the humdinger.
I just know, I'm like, I'm really throwing heavy hitters at her. She didn't have time to prepare.
Oh my goodness. You want me to put my whole life's purpose into? Okay, let me see. I got you. Can I say two?
Of course, go ahead.
Okay. So probably my favorite poem since childhood has been Edgar Allan Poe's Annabel Lee.
Ooh, that's a good one.
My goodness, to be loved and seen in the way that he saw her, that is just
yeah, I get it. Chills.
Chills.
Yes, it gives me chills every single time.
Oh yeah, it's a classic. And then, you know, furthermore, just sometimes I need to be reminded, and I think all of us do at some point in our lives, the insecurities that I have don't define my worth. And so I think a poem that I really love that speaks to that and really kind of uplifts me when I'm down is Maya Angelou's Phenomenal Woman.
Yes.
That is it's a reset that I think every woman kind of needs, you know, on a quarterly basis.
I so agree. I love that poem. Oh my goodness. And I was so happy when they recited that poem in Beauty Shop. I was like, yes.
Yes, they sure did.
Yes, they sure did. They did for just a couple seconds, but yes, they did recite that poem in Beauty Shop, and I love it then. I love it still now.
Yes, I am a woman, you know, phenomenally.
Oh, that's what I'm saying. Those two poems right there, Annabelle and Phenomenally Woman, they gave me chills. They just give me chills because they're so good. Oh yeah, beyond classic. I love those choices. All righty. Yeah, I can't believe it, but we are actually at the final question for you.
Oh, so fast.
I know. But the final question for you is, what's been some of the most rewarding moments of your career so far?
Ooh, some of the most rewarding moments. It's interesting because a lot of the moments that other people consider to be success for me, I don't necessarily see those moments as rewarding. They're always very like out of body. So I don't think that I couldn't say that, like, you know, Amazon bestseller and like Daylight. I think the most rewarding, you know, what's interesting, the most rewarding moments really have been like moments where I have felt lost and I've created something, you know, so whatever written piece it may be, whether it's like a poem or, you know, even with the screenplay for Daylight or, you know, a short story, whatever it may be, and I share that, and that's also always so vulnerable, and I never know how it's going to be received. And a lot of the times I'm just getting something off of my chest with a lot of what I create. And so I think the most rewarding moments are when people just randomly come up to me in these different spaces, and you know, they thank me for the work, and they tell me how, you know, relatable it was to them, and how it, you know, helped them kind of emancipate a piece of themselves in some way. And it always makes me feel less alone, and it makes me feel like there is purpose to the work that I'm doing. It is healing, you know, not only myself, but, you know, the other folks in the communities around me, you know, that I serve with this work. I think that's probably, oh, that's so rewarding. Just knowing like
Yes.
it's, the work is not in vain. Yeah.
Exactly. Exactly. And I think that's amazing. And I love that. I love how you have just different tiny collectible moments and
Well,
rewarding moments of your career. And I think that's amazing. And it's what's awesome is that you still have so much of your career to go. There's still so much for you to accomplish. And I definitely see you accomplishing a lot. And it would not be surprising, maybe within next year or so, we might see you here in Seattle. I'll point that out there one more time. And I'll put that out there just one more time. But yes, I can see it for you. Absolutely.
well, thank you. Well, that's some encouragement that I really needed to hear. I really appreciate you. Thank
Not
you.
a problem. It has been, I have enjoyed talking with you, Yaa. I definitely feel like we're kindred spirits. We definitely,
Yes.
like we've definitely went through some of the same experience, and we know, especially with poems. But I just been, I'm really honored to be able to speak with you, and I thank you so much.
Oh, well, thank you. And thank you for coming with the hitters. You didn't make it easy for me.
I normally don't. I normally don't. I always come with good hitting questions like that. I usually do. So,
Thank
but
you.
I
Thank you
really
so
do
much for having
appreciate
me.
you. Huh?
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. It's really just been a pleasure.
Oh, absolutely. It's been my absolute honor. And of course, you guys, I want to encourage my audience one more time. Make sure you follow and support Yaa Asantewaa Faraji at all on all, let's see. She is on Facebook. I did find you on Facebook. Um, and she did say she was on Bumble. If you guys find her on Bumble, please let me know, because I might have to sign up and find her on Bumble myself.
Bumble BFF.
I love the fact that you said Bumble. I was like, yes, okay, yes, made my day. But yes, I highly encourage you guys to support her. Check out more of her work, her poems. Check out Daylight when it becomes fully, when it releases. Definitely make sure, y'all, you keep us posted on that, because I want to make sure I keep my audience updated on that release of that film.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Of course. And everyone, you guys know I have been your hostess with the mostest, Miss J, aka Miss Simone Jackson. I will be back with another great episode of the J Lounge here soon. I want to thank my amazing guest one more time, Miss Yaa Asantewaa. And of course, everyone, I will be back with another great episode. Till then, stay beautiful, everybody.